manufacturers and wholesalers of rich watches and jewelries. Wow, dami may kaso kasi sa Binondo. Okay, petroleum and gasoline dealers, hotels, motels, you know this? Sir, alam niyo po bakit kasama si motels? Hindi alam niyo, sir. Hindi nila alam. Hindi nag-i-issue ng receipt sa motel, di ba? Ah, ganun ba? Ganun. That's why motels are included. The real estate industry, schools, particularly yung foreigners, English school for Koreans, review centers, kasali siya. Contractors, yung kay Napoles kasama na, NGAs, LGUs, DOCCs kasama dyan. Retailers and wholesalers, restaurants. Bakit? Ang daming ng restaurants, daming inherent tax exposures ng restaurant. I'm sorry to tell you. Dami nating binibili sa wet markets without receipts. So BIR knows about it. So you audit yung mga restaurants. Hospitals, clinics, and then establishments or clinics for beauty enhancements. Wow, mga pampapuglita tayo, yung ganun. Kasali na sila doon. Dami na daw gumaganda. Okay, manufacturers, dealers of beauty and health supplement, amusement, entertainment, and other event centers, advertising agencies. Nasama na ba kayo? Are you included now? Di pa. Some more. BPO companies, e-commerce industry, manpower and other recruitment services agencies, other industry. May others eh. May others. In short, kasama pa rin tayo kasi may others. Okay. Those who fall below the established benchmark. May benchmark sa BIR. Like for example, for construction companies, the benchmark, say for example, at least 15% gross profit. If you fall below that 15% o 5% ka lang, audit ka ng BIR. Why all of a sudden? The industry is 15%, ikaw 5% ka lang. Hello? Sabi nila, audit ka ng BIR. You have also to check your registration because I know a friend, they were benchmarked against very big, giant advertising agencies. Ano lang sila, photography. Sabi na, was benchmarked with big advertising. Only to realize that really their registration is advertising company. Sabi ko, you change your registration so you will not be benchmarked by the BIR in the advertising agencies. Those who maintain an ending inventory with value of 100% or more of its gross sales. Laki rin naman ito, so they will be audited by the BIR. Okay, you should know under that, be prepared. You should know your BIR assessment rules and stages, and then your legal rights. This one, I discuss this in detail in the ebook, which I will email to you. But ito kalahating araw ko ito dinidiscuss. I will discuss this in 5 minutes. Pwede? Wala daw kayong magagawa. Ako may hawak ng microphone eh. Diba? Okay, so the audit starts with the letter of authority. And within 30 days, you need to reply. There are so many legal implications here in the letter of authority. Like for example, sino nag-receive? Who is issued to receive your letter of authority? If it's not received by an authorized personnel, null and void. So make sure na. So kayong presidente, magtago kayo because maybe you're the only authorized. Kasi president yun, CORSEC, accounting manager. So let it be received by your messenger. Oh, null and void na yan. Tapos, letter of authority should be issued within 30 days. Kasi magtago ka bago mag 30 days. Joke lang yun. So, within 30 days, dapat walang erasure, then yung letter of authority. O siyempre, pagka-receive mo, erasan mo na. Null and void na to, di ba? So, another rule for letter of authority, it should be revalidated only once for regional office, twice for national office. What do you mean by this? Na-issuehan ka, null and void. So, BIR will issue again another LOA. Null and void ulit. Magpa-borger ka na. Because BIR has no authority anymore to audit your company. Take note, maliliit lang na but you cannot be compelled by the BIR to pay pag null-and-void na siya. Okay, if you will not reply within 30 days, BIR will give you the first notice. You're given 10 days to reply. Again, you'll be given the second notice. In some cases, they will combine the first and the second notice, the final and the second notice. You need to reply within 10 days. Why? Because after that, BIR will forward your case to the legal department of the BIR. Siyempre, you will be dealing now with the lawyers. Mas mataas na yun, nakabarong na si attorney Diba? You will be required to pay a minimum of at least 30,000 to 100,000 just for the legal department to return your case to the same revenue officer. Ganun lang. Nagbayad ka lang, binalik din naman, di ba? So, do not wait for the subpoena dosis take-home. So, once you reply, BIR now will proceed with the examination. In the examination, you will give all the requirements. Of course, you give your returns, you give your schedules. I'll tell you, ganun uli, less details, less mistake. Huwag ka na magdetalye masyado. Ilagay mo pa birthday ng customer mo, address, may map pa. Joke lang. You just give the requirement of the BIR, the minimum requirement of the BIR. Do not give too much detail because you might be opening so much exposure already for your company. So after the examination, you will be called to a notice of informal conference. And within 15 days, you have to meet them. Alam mo na yun. You have to meet. And during this period, you will know the stand of your examiner. Alam mo na yun. Hihingan ba ako nito? Hindi. During this conference, BIR will discuss your exposures. Just a caution, BIR will give you a very, very high tax exposure that you will fall down from your seat and then you will not be able to sleep anymore and you think that you will lose your job. Mataas talaga because they will exaggerate your exposures. So what you need to do is you need to provide the documents. You need to provide the documents so that the exposure will be reduced. And then BIR will issue the preliminary assessment notice. Preliminary nga to, so you can also negotiate here. You can provide another set of documents to BIR. Hanggang bumaba siya. Do not negotiate with BIR when your assessment is still 100 million. Why? Alam na natin yun, mababa pa rin ang matatawad mo doon. So, you reduce first the assessment. You provide all the documents that they need. Para pag 1 million na lang siya, from 100 million naging 1 million, okay, they will no longer negotiate because it's now 1 million. So, after the preliminary assessment notice, you have now the final notice. This one, of course, this is final. Alam na natin yun. You cannot change this unless you protest. And within 30 days, you need to submit your protest to the BIR. If you need documents, the deadline is within 60 days. So protest ka na. I suggest that you protest. And then, if they will not act on your protest, you have to submit to the commissioner. And within 180 days, the commissioner should act on your protest. If wala pa rin, wala busy si Ms. Kim Hinares, so, punta sa Court of Tax Appeals. Court of Tax Appeals, of course, maraming kaso yun doon. 10 days lang yan. You can file now with the Supreme Court. But, again, if your tax assessment is only 300,000, my goodness, do not file your case to Court of Tax Appeals at Supreme Court. Bayaran nyo na lang, please lang. You can compromise with BIR. Installment na lang po, wala talaga pangungutang po na to. Do not protest anymore up to Supreme Court kasi mahal pa ang bayad kay attorney. Diba? So you just pay. So, again, the details of this, you can get in the ebook. Or you can attend my seminar for the whole day. Okay. Know the BIR audit techniques. At least we know. Ginagawa ni BIR. BIR will check your registrations, of course. Are you VAT registered? Are your branches registered? Pag hindi registered, of course, BIR will penalize you. Ganun lang naman yun. And then BIR will compare and summarize your tax returns. Lahat. VAT, expanded, compensation, lahat ng BIR will compare to your FS, will compare to your tax returns. Lahat yan kukumpara niya. Later, I will teach you how. And then BIR will analyze your financial statements. Horizontal, mali. Horizontal, meaning last year versus this year. Per account yun. Per account, titingnan niya. Parang ginagawa ng external auditor niyo. Titingnan niya yan lahat. Oh, nag-increase. Oh, may tax implication. Nag-decrease, you will be asked. Increase or decrease, you have to be ready to explain why there is a sudden increase or decrease. And then, vertical, meaning sales versus cost of sales, sales versus your salaries, sales versus your rent. Titingnan nyo ni BIR isa-isa. GP versus your sales. Titingnan ni BIR. Oh, if there is unusual trend, BIR will question or make it an audit finding. Bayad ka na naman. Inquiry. This one, you need to be careful. When you less talk, less mistake din. Ganun din tayo. Do not assign somebody, any of your staff na AP. Oh, you want a schedule of payable, go to my AP staff. You want a schedule of receivable, go to my receivable staff. You want a schedule of depreciation, go to my property and equipment staff. Hindi yun. You assign one person. Baka iba-iba ang sinabi ng apat, di ba? You assign one person, baka ay, we have 4 sets of books. Joke lang. Assign only one person to face BIR. And then, BIR will check your VAT, EWT, and then the loss versus the loss. BIR will check all ha, walang ano ha, walang, kahit maliit yan, all income and expense accounts versus your tax. Titingnan yan, binitholdan ba to, binat ba to, lahat. Certain balance sheet accounts, ano yun, receivables, payables, BIR will check those. Parang lahat ano, tinignan. Walang natitira si BIR. Check compliance with the major BIR regulations. If there's some peculiar regulation to your company, BIR will check those. Parang tahimik na kayo. O, tapos na bang 30 minutes ko? Wala pa ako sa kalahati. Okay. Check taxes, this one. You have to take note. Non-resident foreign corporations and citizens. This one actually is very difficult kasi depending on the country also. Ang dami-dami, di ba, Miss Dovi? Dami. If you will deal with the US, if you will deal with Singapore, iba na naman yung tax. So you don't know anymore. Magkano ba ang rate? Subject ba to tax? Expanded ba to? Final tax ba to? 10% ba to? 15 ba to? 30, 20, 25, ganun, nahilo ka na. Diba? Ganun yun, final tax, hilong-hilo ka na. So be sure that you study this versus your tax transaction. Okay. Salaries, wages, and benefits of key officers. Bakit? Kasi sanay pa tayo sa tax shield, tax shelter. Aminin. So BIR will check this. Your related party transactions, BIR will check. Naku, naglipatan yung pera, left and right. Walang documentation. BIR will check. And there's a move by the BIR to audit group of companies together at the same time. Ang sarap no? If you're handling 20 companies and they will be audited at the same time, wow. Galing, sarap, saya. Yung isang company nga, hilong-hilo ka na, no? 20 companies ka kaya. Okay. Case-to-case basis. This one, case-to-case, ha? BIR will check the completeness of books or invoices. In some cases only, they will check. But be ready. The BIR will check compliance with your invoicing requirements. Tine-check na. There's a VAT audit now. Minsan, tine-check ni BIR. And then they will check if there are fraudulent transactions. Okay, sabi niya, I need only 10 minutes. Really? 10 minutes? Parang nag-warm up pa lang ako, Brother JR. Okay. Knowing the common BIR audit issues, first is, I will discuss the first 3 lang ha. These are the issues uncovered by the BIR. Unreconciled variances in your books. Books versus your schedules, versus your tax returns, versus your FS. Non-withholding and under-withholding, ang dami niyan. and then incorrect application of tax laws and rates. And then, tayo naman, we should know the audit, how do we audit the your accounts so that you are ready. One is, of course, you need to register your company. Hindi mo ni-register yan, automatic. You will be closed by the BIR. Then you have to maintain good accounting records. Wala na pong manual ngayon. Meron pa bang nagmamanual? Please lang, you talk to Aisa. We're implementing QuickBooks o nag-advertise tuloy. Wala nang nagsusulat ngayon. Use a computerized accounting system. Issue your OR and then support all your expenses with valid receipts. Declare correct income, claim valid expenses, and of course, you have to pay your taxes on time. This one, I will discuss, Brother JR. I-discuss ko talaga to. Do your tax planning and tax compliance audit. I will discuss this in detail. So, what are the procedures? Detalyado na to. Ito yung binabayaran nyo. 100,000, 120,000 sa tax auditor. Ganun pala ginagawa nila. Okay, so I'll discuss. Know the major tax laws that apply to your company, to each account, and to each transaction. Kaya lang, dami, no? Bayad na lang kayo ng 120. Dami eh. So, examine all, walang exception na, all accounts with tax implications versus VAT, yung expand, recompute mo ulit, recompute and then test compute. Compute mo lahat. Tama kayang na-withhold ng aking accountant. Then you have to summarize. Summarize your tax returns, income tax monthly, quarterly, annual. You have to summarize. And then match versus your trial balance. And then your trial balance should match versus your FS schedules. This one is more detailed. Ginagawa to sa tax compliance. Actually, I used to illustrate this in a whiteboard. Ginaganon ko siya. All figures should tie up. If there's a discrepancy, you should know and you should be able to reconcile and take note about that reconciling item. Para with the BIR will go to your office, alam mo, ito nangyayari dito. So, documents should tie up to your voucher. So if you have a sale of 100 million, your documents, your OLs should be 100 million. Your documents should tie up to your vouchers or to your reference documents. Again, yung vouchers mo should tie up to your subsidiary ledger. Yung subsidiary ledger mo should tie up to your general ledger. Tie up to your trial balance. In some cases, if you're working on the prior years, ita-tie up mo pa sa unadjusted trial balance. May adjustment ka pa dyan. And then you have to tie up to your financial statement. Tie up to your income tax return. 100 million lahat yan up to VAT. Up to monthly, the summary of your monthly, quarterly, and your alpha list. Summary list of sales and purchases. 100 million din. Kaya? Kaya naman, 100 million lahat. Kaya. And then again, it should tie up to your schedules and details. 100 million lahat ng figures dyan sa lahat ng yan. That is what your tax auditor will do. Even BIR, hindi lang ganyan kadetalye si BIR mag-examine. And you have to consider your kahe, client adjusting journal entries. Yung ginawa mo ng kahe na 100 kahe, and then your auditor made, naman, 100 din na pahe, hindi nagpatalo. Make sure that you consider that in your reconciliation. In most cases, the discrepancies will come from the adjustments. Imagine, your VAT returns, you submitted that, kailan? January 25, di ba? You submitted your VAT returns January 25. You finalized. Sa January 25, probably your trial balance is not yet final. Trial pa lang siya, di ba? January, puro ka lang trial ng trials, not yet balanced. So January 25, your figure was only 80 million. In your FS, your figure is already 100 million. May problema ka, may 20 million ka. Coming from kahe, pahe, ganun. So you have to decide whether you will adjust your financial statement or you will just pass the adjustment, laki ng 20 million adjustment, or you will amend your VAT returns. Most assessment come from variances of these documents. Ginagawa ko to during trainings. Pinapakita ko, okay, you have to tie up all of this. After the training, my participants do not like me anymore. Bakit? Ang dami kong pinagawa sa kanila. Pag-uwi nila, dami naman sinabi, dami kong gagawin. Believe me, you will do this. But we have now a facility. That's the good news. That's why I told them I will discuss this. We have a facility now to do this reconciliation. And we call this tax pairing. Gagawin siya yung reconciliation from documents down to your details of your schedules. Makukuha siya sa tax pairing. Okay. And then you have to evaluate the tax effects of those discrepancies. Of course. And then you have to decide. Again, analyze mo rin. Vertical, horizontal. The same with what the BIR will do. And then yung tax effects of material movements. Pag tumaas, tingnan mo na, tumaas. Baka makikita ni BIR. Bumaba. Okay, you have to check. Dapat medyo okay lang. Unless you know and you can explain. The tax effects of non-moving accounts, and then you have to give recommendation, of course, to your boss. You have to tell your boss, otherwise the boss will fire you when the BIR assess your companies. But hindi mo sinabi that we have a 20 million tax assessment? At least the boss will, boss, we have a 20 million tax assessment. Are we going to correct the tax return or leave it as is? Sabi ni boss, leave it as is, 20 million yan. At least you will not be fined 2 years or 3 years from now. Okay. So, secret number 2, patapos na. I have only 2 more secrets. B is build good relationships. Communicate and cooperate. Bakit? Audit of the BIR is really a relationship. Believe me. You will realize that you really have to bring them to the most expensive restaurant in town. And they will arrive at 11:45 or 11:40 noon time. Diba? Ganun yun. You know it already. I have one participant. Sabi ko kasi, that we're in the Philippines. It's more fun in the Philippines. Even if you will not give extra to the BIR personnel, they expect that you will entertain them. The fact that they will arrive at 11:30, you know already na they expect that you will bring them to the most expensive. Yun sa Vikings, pwede na yan siguro. Ito sa Resort World, pwede na yun. At least you entertain them. I don't think that's wrong. That's part of the building good relationship. I have one participant, sabi niya, one of my friends told me that I should not even serve coffee to the BIR examiner because they might enjoy staying in our office. Sabi ko, hindi niya pinapakape. I told her, ako, lagot ka dyan. Kaya pala ako pinapahirapan. Sabi ko, pagkainin mo lang. Just the modest food is okay. So, you have to realize na you are in the Philippines. We are used to entertainment. Ganun yun. We have I have one participant, sabi niya, that's too much na. Sabi ko, sobra ka naman. From Zamboanga, pinapapunta niya sa Tagaytay. Napunta ng Baguio, yung mga examiners. Sabi ko, I think that's too much. At least, yung yung food. Sabi niya, that's favorable to me. Mababa naman. Compared with the amount that I will pay. Okay, sige lang. That's your call. Again, you have to build good relationship. You have to cooperate. Otherwise, if BIR, examiner, will be angry at you, alam mo mangyayari, pa-filean kayo ng kaso. Tapos ang laki-laki ng assessment nyo. At least you build relationship. I'm not telling you na mag-ano kayo dun, maglagay, mag-ano. Just build a good relationship. Konting PR lang. You can still do the right way, even if you have a good relationship with the officer. Konting ano lang, you give them certain level of importance because they are anyway officers of our government. And then, of course, next is you need to automate. You need to automate. The one I mentioned, wherein you will reconcile all figures. If a staff will do that for the whole year, 3 weeks dire-diretso, walang may overtime pa, pwede siyang gawin. But if you are busy doing your day-to-day stuff, you cannot do the reconciliation. Sabihin, ay bahala na yung assessment na yan. I can't do it anymore. So, you have to automate. That's why we have this facility, this tax pairing, so that you can automate your tax compliance worksheets, and you will be able to reconcile your tax returns, and you are ready anytime BIR will step in your doorstep. Okay. Again, the secrets in winning your BIR audit is TDA. Be prepared, build good relationships, and again, you have to automate. Remove your stress, your headache, and your worry. Save tax, save money, use tax pairing. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello. Thank you very much, Ma'am Malina, for sharing us your secrets. At this time, we're also giving out 5 more raffles. That's T-shirt. I have here 5 lucky names. So if your name is called, kindly forward and get your T-shirt here. Number 006. That's Ma'am Shirley from Lourdes. Four to go. Number 0188, Miss Winnie De Jesus. Ma'am Winnie. Ito, kilala ko to, kliyente ka to eh. Number 0194, from Permas Diliza, Ma'am Dulce Fernandez. Thank you, ma'am. 0005, Mr. Dennis S. Tavillo. The last one is 0190, Sir Mark Jenane Di Matulak. Sir Mark, ayan yan. Isa pa ba? Aka na. Meron pa daw isa. Kuha pa ako ng isa ha. What's that? That's a planner. 0178. Sir Raymond. Ayan na. Doon siya. At this time, I'd like to introduce to you our second speaker. He is the chairman of SJC Group of Companies. He graduated from the University of the Philippines with the degree of Business Administration, major in accounting. He is a certified public accountant, certified internal auditor, certified fraud examiner, certified information systems auditor, Microsoft certified professional, and registered financial advisor. He is an entrepreneur, wealth management consultant, accountant, auditor, and IT guy.